When Judge Judy exploded on live television, most thought Jasmine Crockett would stumble under the pressure. Instead, what happened next flipped the room, and later the internet, completely on its head. The studio lights were so hot and bright, they felt like a second sun. Every seat in the auditorium was filled, every whisper of the crowd carrying a restless charge. This wasn't going to be a polite discussion, everyone could feel it. The event had been teased for weeks. A nationally televised panel on judicial accountability, staged like a courtroom and produced with dramatic flair. But the theme wasn't the real attraction, the lineup was. Judge Judy Sheindlin, America's no-nonsense television judge, sat on one side. Opposite her, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas, a first-term Democrat already known for sharp wit and fearless exchanges in congressional hearings. The contrast was irresistible. Judy, a cultural icon with decades of authority, versus Crockett, a rising voice with nothing to lose. From the beginning, the air carried the tension of a fight. The producers designed everything to amplify the drama. The set was a stage disguised as a courtroom. High wooden desks, a seal projected behind them, cameras gliding across tracks to capture every reaction. Dallas, Texas, was the chosen backdrop. A city big enough to attract national attention but not too saturated to lose focus. The audience was packed with lawyers, professors, activists, retired judges, even curious locals who drove from small towns. Nobody came just for policy talk. They wanted sparks. The opening minutes were calm enough. Questions about fairness, sentencing, judicial oversight, and politics. Crockett spoke with crisp precision, referencing statistics about incarceration and bias. Judy responded in her trademark briskness, cutting through with authority, dismissing what she labeled as political spin. The tension climbed by the minute, and then came the flashpoint, the moment that would loop endlessly across millions of screens. Crockett was mid-sentence, outlining how communities of color bore the harshest burdens of the justice system, when Judy suddenly cut her off. "Stop right there," she barked, her palm smacking the desk like a gavel. Her voice ricocheted around the hall. "You're not going to sit here and lecture me with statistics. I've sat on the bench for over 3 decades. I don't need a congresswoman to tell me how the system works." Gasps shot through the audience. Some applauded, half in shock and half in thrill. The cameras zoomed tight on Crockett. She didn't flinch. She didn't argue. She simply folded her hands, let the silence stretch long enough to make people uneasy, and then replied in a calm tone that cut like glass. "Judge, with all due respect, the bench isn't the same as the communities, living under its rulings. Your experience is valuable, but my experience is living with the consequences your system has delivered. That's why I'm here." The shift was immediate. Murmurs replaced gasps. Even Judy looked caught off guard, blinking fast, struggling for her usual quick comeback. For once, she had none. The clash on stage wasn't just between two women. It was a clash of styles, fury against composure, volume against control. In homes across the country, viewers leaned forward, sensing the balance turning. Inside the Dallas auditorium, phones lit up like fireflies. Clips of the exchange were posted before the panel had even wrapped. Hashtags began bubbling online within minutes. "Jasmine handled it. Judge Judy meltdown." The audience's energy tilted. Applause that had supported Judy earlier now growing more scattered, while whispers in support of Crockett spread like a current. For many, it wasn't just politics anymore. It was personal. People had been in, that moment themselves, cut off, talked down to, dismissed. And they were watching Crockett hold her ground without so much as a raised eyebrow. Judy tried to recover, jabbing her finger and raising her voice. "Don't play the victim card. Accountability isn't about feelings. It's about facts. Break the law, face the consequences." But Crockett stayed cool. Accountability without fairness isn't justice. It's punishment. And punishment, without addressing root causes, doesn't solve anything. It just feeds the cycle. The words landed with surgical precision. The audience rippled with murmurs, then light applause. Each time Judy's volume climbed, the crowd leaned away. Each time Crockett answered calmly, the applause grew. By the time Crockett delivered the line that would go viral, yelling doesn't make your argument stronger, it just makes it louder. The auditorium broke into chuckles, gasps, and claps. Judy blinked, visibly stunned. That sentence alone, clipped and shared online, would rack up millions of views within hours. It wasn't theatrical, it was simple, devastating, and true. And for Judy, whose entire television empire had been built on raising her voice, it was a moment of rare vulnerability. From there, the balance had shifted. Crockett wasn't rattled, wasn't shaken, wasn't defensive. She leaned into her microphone, steady, deliberate. When two people commit the same crime, and one walks with probation while the other serves years behind bars, that's not accountability. That's imbalance. That's injustice. And if you've presided over thousands of cases, Judge, then you've seen it too, whether you admit it or not. Applause rose louder now. Cameras caught a teenage girl in the audience filming with wide eyes, whispering to her friend, "She's owning this." That clip would later explode on TikTok with the caption, "Cooler than cool." Jasmine handled it. For Judy, the more she pushed, the more defensive she appeared. For Jasmine, every calm line landed heavier than the last. By the end of the night, hashtags were trending worldwide. Memes flooded in, Judy mid-yell captioned, "Volume," Crockett calm and composed. Captioned, "Control." A photo of Crockett with folded hands was plastered with, "When the teacher yells, but you already finished your homework." The fallout was immediate. CNN and MSNBC clipped the exchange for prime-time coverage. Even Fox News aired it under the headline, "Congresswoman clashes with Judge Judy, stays calm." Talk shows replayed it on loop. On Good Morning America, the anchor laughed. Judy has built her career commanding a room, but last night it was Jasmine Crockett who commanded the moment. Analysts broke it down frame by frame. She doesn't move, doesn't raise her voice. That's deliberate. She's using silence as a weapon. Social media made it bigger still. TikTok creators remixed Crockett's line into motivational sound bites. Twitter threads praised her restraint. A tweet reading, "Judge Judy yelled, Jasmine Crockett didn't blink." That's real power, earned hundreds of thousands of likes in a day. "Louder doesn't mean right," appeared on protest. Signs, sermon notes, even classroom whiteboards. It became a mantra. Backstage, Judy fumed. Her team released a statement saying she had been passionate, not unprofessional. But online, that only fueled mockery. Translation, she's mad she got outclassed. Crockett's staff, meanwhile, celebrated in their hotel conference room. Pizza boxes stacked around laptops streaming the memes. "We didn't even plan this," one aide said. Crockett shook her head. "I just said what I believed." Her calm had not been a tactic. It was natural, and that made it even more powerful. Reactions rippled across the country. A teacher told her students the next morning, "That's how you win, with dignity." A lawyer in Phoenix tweeted, "I've been shouted at in court. Watching Crockett stay calm felt like redemption." A mother left a voicemail at Crockett's Dallas office. "You showed my daughter how to stand tall when someone disrespects you. I've never been prouder to have you as my representative." For Judy's longtime fans, the moment was harder to swallow. Some defended her bluntness as authenticity. Others admitted the optics weren't good. A former producer from her courtroom show said bluntly in an interview, "She's used to ending the argument, this time she didn't." The debate quickly expanded beyond Judy and Jasmine into something cultural. Was Judy judged too harshly for being a passionate older woman? Or was the world simply shifting toward a new style of authority, one defined not by fury, but by composure? On The View, one panelist said, "We've all been yelled at by someone in power. Jasmine spoke for all of us." Another countered, "But Judy earned her authority." Still, the applause went to Crockett. Within weeks, Crockett's following doubled. Editorials declared, "Power can be quiet." Trainers used the clip in corporate workshops on conflict resolution. Debate coaches showed students, "Notice how she doesn't raise her voice, yet everyone listens." Pastors quoted the line in sermons, "Louder doesn't mean right." For Judy, it was a bruise on a career built on invulnerability. For Crockett, it was rocket fuel, an unscripted moment that elevated her brand. She hadn't planned to become a meme, but the lesson resonated far beyond politics. Everyone had been in her shoes, facing someone older, louder, or more powerful. Watching her hold steady gave people hope that they could too. In the weeks that followed, Crockett was invited onto national shows, podcasts, Sunday panels. Supporters showed up at her town halls holding signs that read, "Cold, classy, precise." It wasn't a campaign slogan, but it might as well have been. Judy continued to defend her style, but the public's verdict was clear. The moment was no longer about statistics or authority. It was about behavior, and about what composure under fire could mean. Months later, the clip was still circulating. In classrooms, in office seminars, in family dinner conversations, people referenced it as a blueprint. Stay calm, hold your ground, let the noise unravel itself. A college student in Missouri said he used Crockett's line on his professor who kept interrupting him. He stopped. A mother told her daughter, "They clapped for her because she showed strength without being mean." In the end, what stuck wasn't Judy's outburst. It was Jasmine Crockett's calm. She showed that strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is refuse to raise your voice, refuse to be rattled, and let dignity speak louder than volume. And that was why millions who had never sat in a courtroom, who had never held office, still carried that moment with them. It wasn't just politics. It was a reminder